Greetings, Legunus. Arendelle here again. Okay, so in my last video, I was trying to figure out where everyone's quarters were, and XL Pudding told me that everyone essentially had quarters now. Well, my definition of quarters and his definition of quarters are very different. Because I did, after that video, locate these quarters, which of course are for the witch hunter, and then I located these quarters, which is obviously for Kruber, but these aren't so much quarters as, well, a spot. They've got a spot. Both of them do. But they aren't quarters. What I consider to be quarters are Sienna's quarters right here. Sure, in this place, it does not... It's... Yeah. But she's got a door that can be closed, or, you know, something along those lines. And, well, yeah, she's not exactly got privacy here. You know, there'd be, you know, different places that she could go. And in here, it's cozy. It's got a window, you know, nice, spacious window, all that. She has a freaking actual bed. Essentially, she has a little bit of space that's hers. Sure, no real privacy whatsoever, but it's a space that belongs to her that isn't just down here in the common area where you essentially just come in from the battle and whatnot. And Sienna used to just have a spot right here. That was it. And they would just come in and you'd bunk down and that would be all. And I don't know if Carillion or if Barden ever had spots in the common area here. But I theorize that they did because Sienna, Kruber, and Saltspire all did. Well, Kruber and Saltspire still having them. But in any case, and then once you enter an area, it likes to say what area you're in. You go into Sienna's quarters, and boom, it says you're in Sienna's quarters. And then you come over here to Carillion's, and it says Carillion's quarters. And sure, she hasn't got a door, but I sort of expected that for Carillion. I didn't actually expect her to have a door or anything like that, because that doesn't seem to really match the way she does things. But yeah, this is her little spot. Ooh. It's got a little bit of a view. Not much shelter against the elements, but a little bit of a view. And I have to say, I do like it. You know. And I expected something far more like this for Carillion. I really did. I expected something way outdoors and stuff like that. And Barden, of course, is right next to the forge. And Sienna is probably one of the most charred places of this castle. And whether that's because of her or whether just because of how charred it was, it drew her, I don't know. But one thing from me... Oh, there's a ladder right there. I forgot about that. I anticipate that Saltspire's quarters are to be somewhere down here in the dungeon. I think that matches more of his mentality, and there's room for growth. They can, like, hollow out one of these area, like, they could open that out and move it out and give Saltspire something there, or there's even, like, this walkway that leads up here. Oh, no, I went the wrong way. There's a place down here somewhere where it, like, leads to a dead end. Is this it? Okay, so there's this door, there's this right here, and it leads to essentially a closet, I guess, for lack of a better term. And, I'm not saying that those don't exist in castles or whatever, but first time I walked in here, I was like, oh, well, what's the point of this place? And I suppose it is, like, right next to the armory. So, yeah, but you don't see closets anywhere else throughout this whole doggone fortress, or what's left of it anyway. And I suppose there's just, with all the damage, like, down here, that might have been a closet, that might have been a closet, that kind of thing. But, I don't know, I see potential there. And they can essentially choose to put Saltspire's quarters wherever they want, but I just expect his place to be, well, somewhere beneath. especially near the dungeon and whatnot, because Witch Hunter, you know, association with pain, that kind of thing. Yeah, that seems to match Saltspire's mentality. And Kruber, now, I'm not going to go out there and say that Kruber's like this scholarly figure or anything, but I could see his character taking that sort of direction. So when I came up here to explore all this time before I found the ladder I'm currently climbing, I found this little place here with these like books strewn out and everything, and these makeshift bookshelves and whatnot. And I thought to myself, you know, this looks like it could be somebody's quarters. And I had found Barden's quarters by that time, so I figured that kind of stuff was still in progress, so it could eventually be made. And I do think there, you know, this might end up being Kruger's quarters, or they put them somewhere else and they'll remain a hut. You know, might be that nobody ends up developing that into anything. But this is also very near the top of the fort, well, what's left of the keep. And I think that it would be really cool if they did put somebody's quarters all the way up here, all the way up near the top. I think that would be very awesome. And I still want to say that I would really love it if, as characters level up and whatnot, each character can like find more and more lore throughout Taal's Keep. It's a big place. There's lots to explore, and you can find all kinds of things. I really love how open it is here. And then you come over to like there, and I'm hoping like at some point, oh man, I would love it if they, at some point, like when you reach level 30 with a character, a bridge is formed across there where you can go across and find, you know, explore that tower and find out a particular secret about the character you're currently playing now that you're level 30. Or if they, you know, got it up to higher levels, you know, you can find more things and whatnot. And then I'm hoping at some point they open up this. Essentially, what I'd like to see is that as you level up your characters, in a weird way, you know, more parts of the fortress will open up to you, and you'll be able to go and explore things. And this would sort of also be a representation of them actually repairing the fortress as time, the keep, as time goes by. And like, there's a whole other tower over there, and just, you know, I look at this place and I just see the sheer potential of it. And this comes from somebody who spent hours on WarCraft 3 Map Editor just building crap for the fun of it. It just felt good to construct worlds and just all kinds of things. And then I would fiddle with the editor and I would create some of the coolest, weirdest, most awesome maps ever. I freaking loved that aspect of the game. And I even was creating a form of Dota from, because that is where the original Dota came from, was from Warcraft, and by proxy the Warcraft Map Editor. But the difference was is that you were actually in control of a race, you were building a base, but you were having waves of enemies being sent at your base, you know, starting very weak and then throughout as the game went on, getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And it was being sent at you from a central base. And so the whole concept of the game was to, you know, build up, get stronger, build, you know, blah, blah, and that kind of thing. And eventually attack that middle base before your enemies do. While you could attack your enemies directly, weaken them, hopefully enough for the armies from the middle coming in, these armies from the middle would be steadily getting stronger. So unless you wiped out every enemy on the board before the middle base's armies got so big and overwhelming that your base defenses and army couldn't take it anymore, which would eventually happen, hypothetically speaking, if you didn't take care of it. Of course, there were, every time one of these waves was sent at you, eventually they'd reach a tier where they'd drop more powerful gear off the powerful monsters that were sent at you. So hypothetically speaking, as long as you were keeping up to date on that gear and gearing out your heroes, you could continually be leveling up their gear, and they would be stronger and stronger, able to better fight off more waves. So hypothetically speaking, you might be able to continually fight off these waves for an indefinite period of time. Ooh! Oh, check out this door. It is like made of iron or steel or just some other metal. I actually haven't located. I'm not walked over here before. This is really cool. I'm gonna walk away and see if I can't get a better. Oh, the tower. I'm right next to that other tower. Yeah, check that out. And right next to this tower is this really fortified looking door. Like all these other doors, like made of wood and whatnot, we could all just smash through. And was that a doorway, or was that just a really tall window? And of course, there is a door that leads directly into the tower itself. But still, you know, this. I'm gonna drop down here. Oh yeah. So nothing fancy, but oh, and they won't let you through yet. And there's like a ledge down there that looks interesting. Okay, all right. I don't know if I just haven't found this before or if it's something new. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. As I make these videos, it'll be a little easier for me to tell because I'll be able to go back to these places and see if anything changed instead of just relying on my somewhat faulty memory. But anyway, so yeah, and then if you wiped out the base, in other words, got up to that base, and mind you, getting up to the middle base, which was sending these armies at you that were getting steadily stronger and stronger, was not an easy task. There would be towers along the way, like in Dota, like when you would proceed to the enemy base with your one hero, there would be towers that would be getting steadily stronger and stronger, and hypothetically, camps there as well that were more static, that wouldn't just come charging at you like the regular waves would, but you know, would just sit there and defend the whatever particular outpost they were defending. Because I was thinking there would be like a light outpost to begin with for you to overwhelm when you first started foraying at the enemy, and then a middle one, and then the last final base itself for you to take out. And when you destroyed a particular building there, you stopped the waves from coming at you. And then that building would drop a very powerful item that was essentially the second most powerful item or item tier in the game. The most powerful item to be dropped in the game was from the center of the base, and there would only be one at all. In other words, no other item of that level would ever be dropped again. So it was the most powerful item that could be dropped, and you pick it, you know, whatever hero picks it up is going to be hypothetically, depending on their other gear and its tiers, the most powerful one in the game. But upon death, that hero would drop it like the Divine Reaper in Dota 2. And so you wanted to be careful with that hero and not too cocky with it, because if it died, while in enemy territory or whatever, or you weren't able to recover the gear and the enemy did, then you would have just handed over that piece of gear to them and screwed yourself over. But that was my concept. I really loved it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the triggers to work after a certain point. So, that's odd. Just a random line. And what's more is it's going down this perfect little valley. But yeah, I love the WarCraft 3 editor. It is still one of my favorite things to do, is to map edit whenever a good map editor is around to do that kind of thing. Unfortunately, I'm going to now just fall to my death. Yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't ever able to really get it to function. I kept trying to figure out why the triggers wouldn't work, even though I put them there and they looked like they should be functioning normally, but they never did. Okay, so this line here is so new. I don't remember this line ever being here before. Weird. I'm also suddenly suffering a great deal of tooth pain. That's wonderful. That distant fortress is still there. Oh, I recognize it now. Yeah, the wall, the keep there, and I bet that's the church. Okay, next time I go on one of those missions, I'm going to okay, so I'll look up and I'll see the wall there, and I'll know to look up in this direction and see if I can't, in the distance, spot this fortress. Because that would be really cool just to link the two and see it there. And hello, little flame. Oh, I thought my fireball might pass through it. I snuffed out the little flame with a much bigger flame. Oh well. It'll come back. It'll respawn. Holy crap. This tower is like so... It looks like the tower from that one older Disney movie with Merlin and Arthur. Sword in the Stone. It looks like that tower Merlin had to stay in Sword in the Stone. And it's not actually rocking right now, but it almost looks like it should be. And it would be also, like, you know, when bridges, you know, concept of the bridge being built to it as you get to higher and higher levels. And you're only able to proceed so high. Oh, shut up. Only able to proceed so far up in the tower depending on your level and whatnot. And not just that, but the overall levels of your characters. In other words, if you're leveling all your characters except one, there's going to be a point where suddenly you just can't proceed higher, even though you're insanely high with your current tiered hero, and most of them, because that one you've left really low and can't get, you know, any higher. And then also something that would be like really funky to put a twist on things is to have it, once you're inside, be like the TARDIS or whatever, and be a lot bigger inside, or just whatever, and there's this tower to like make no sense, which would also explain why it's sitting on such a tiny precipice of rock and just perfectly stable, you know. Because goodness knows that does not look stable. I would actually expect this tower and the precipice of rock that it's sitting on to be gently, ever so slightly swaying in the wind. Because if you ever been on some, like, for my first time getting on an overpass, one of the first things I noticed was that even though this thing was made of metal and concrete, it was swaying. I could feel it moving. And so this stuff does have movement to it. It doesn't necessarily have to instantly crack the moment it moves. Things that are solid like that can have a small amount of movement. And so I think that would be, you know, something cool for them to put in effect of this thing. Like, you know, you see the tree moving slightly and whatnot in the breeze. Just see the tower ever so slightly rocking back and forth. That kind of thing. But anyways, so these are just some of my thoughts and hopes for where the future of the game will go in Taal's Horn. I continue to explore it and continue to find things that are new, and I hope to find lots and lots more things that are new. What would you like to see in Taal's Horn? Well, you know, or for that matter, in the game in general. I myself am eagerly awaiting for them to introduce the exact same lore that they were introducing to number 1 into number 2. I know that takes more time because they have to have their script writers go over it and whatnot. This is honestly something I wish I could help out with. That is my forte, but, you know, I don't work for them. But in any case, yeah, and I know that's going to take time, but it's something I eagerly await. And in truth, I am decently satisfied with what the game is right now. I do know there are a few things that I guess I can cover in a later video that I either don't like about the game right now or I think needs serious development. I've already talked about how power leveling is one of those things. I don't like the power levels of the items and whatnot. However, I have heard that they do actually represent damage, that even if you get, you know, your trinket to a much higher power level, that's actually going to influence your damage, which doesn't necessarily make sense, especially on someone like Kruber, who isn't like magically attuned. If, you know, it was a magic trinket or whatnot, I could see it benefiting Sienna or possibly even Carillion, considering she would have more in tunement with the pattern and whatnot. Maybe these trinkets and other items that don't necessarily have a benefit to even somebody like Kruber are just magically imbued, and that's why they buff them. But on a purely aesthetical sense of the game and power leveling doing that, I prefer an outright raw damage statistic. I don't like power leveling as being the thing that dictates damage because it's more vague and doesn't spell things out nearly as clearly. So I'm a much bigger fan of just like, hey, this is how much damage this item is going to do, and blah, blah, blah. And just having it being like, a generally stated thing rather than, just higher power level, it'll increase your damage, who knows by how much, but, you can figure that out as you go. So if that is indeed true, then, well, I am now, thankful that there is actually a purpose to power levels. I am not the biggest fan of them still. So, yeah. But at least there is a reason for them, though. I thought that was just sort of going to be something that just sat there and said, hey, you have a higher power leveled item now. So, congratulations to you. And that was going to be something pointless. So, at least there's purpose. But in any case, yeah. If anybody has any thoughts or anything whatnot, please leave it down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, please let me know why. And if you genuinely enjoy this kind of content and would like to see more, please consider subscribing. In any case, don't go into too much trouble or ado, always up to you. Toodles!